Okay, so I'm going to do the vlog every day in April, which is basically where I ramble about stuff while you watch pretty water. So this is kind of going to be like a podcast, so I guess you could like do things while I'm doing this. So, yeah. What I wanted to talk about today was probably April Fool's Day and the worst April Fool's prank that I have ever had, because in honor of April Fool's Day, tomorrow I'll start talking about like actual topics, but a lot of people are doing this now, so I figured why not. I think I was 9 years old, 10 years old, and that tells you how much this thing has traumatized me, because like I remember it and I was 10. And okay, by the way, just disclaimer, that does not mean that if you're 10 you were young. It's just that 10 was many years ago for me. So, okay, and disclaimer. Um so I think we were at my grandparents' house. Me, my two sisters, my parents, and of course my grandparents. It was maybe Passover, maybe April break. I don't even know. Um and so we were at Passover, and so it was when we were younger, we used to, because Passover is 2 days long, the Seder's. I know that it's actually 7 or 8 days long, but so it was, so we were going to sleep over because we were sort of young, like anyway, so 10 years old, and I was going to go take a shower or a bath or whatever I did at 10 years old. I can't even remember. That's how long ago this was. And so I went to get in the shower, and I was like, I don't know what I was doing. I was doing something. I wasn't in the shower yet, and then my mom called me in for breakfast. So I was like, whatever, okay. So I put on my robe or whatever I was wearing, and I went and I had breakfast, and that probably took, what, a half an hour? So I was eating breakfast, eating breakfast, eating breakfast. And so my older sister, she finished breakfast really quickly, didn't think anything of it, and she sort of left. I assumed that she wanted to watch TV, like a Disney movie or whatever was on. Probably Lizzie McGuire, because I remember she liked that show. Um, so, yeah, I was eating breakfast, and she wasn't there. So, I go back, and she is watching TV. So, I say, I'm gonna go in the shower now. And then she's like, hold on, I want to go in the shower first. So, she goes into the shower, and I'm watching whatever I was watching. And so she says, okay, you can go in now. So I get in, I take off my robe, I get in, and I shower. And then when I step into the shower, and I turn on the water, and until I realize that there's like absolutely no traction. So for some reason, 10-year-old me didn't think anything of it. So I just continued to shower. And then when I was about done, I think. I don't even know. It was a sudsy from all the soap and shampoo and stuff. So, and I already didn't have a lot of traction. So, I slipped. It was one of those detachable ones, I think. You know, the shower heads that can come off. So it was one detachable. It fell on top of me, and I slipped over, and I banged my thumb on the back wall, which was made of tile, and it really hurt. And it turns out that I had bruised the bone in my thumb, and I was screaming and I was crying, and then my sister ran in, and then she was like, oh my god, and then I was like, what do you mean, oh my god, this isn't your fault, because I was so trusting. And she was like, I put butter at the bottom of the bath. Yeah, I was bathing with butter in the bottom of the tub, on top of soap and shampoo and conditioner and whatever the heck else she put down there. Um, so I didn't have to go to the hospital, thank God, but I did have to go to the doctor. They had to give me a cast. It was fun for all the people that got to sign the cast, but it wasn't fun for me, and it especially wasn't fun for my sister, who I'm pretty sure got her first ever grounding for excessive April Fool's prank. So that's my story, and it's not very long right now, so I'm gonna talk a little bit longer, 'cause Yeah. So, do you ever remember? Hold on, my computer just fell asleep. Do you ever remember those things that when you were in school, when you were in elementary school, that they'd always give you? That was like, how well can you follow directions? And then there'd be like 50 or something different, or however many steps, and then it would be like, um, read all the directions, and then when you, after you read them, then do it. And then the last question would always be like, just put your name on this, answer the first two questions, and then put it away. But then nobody ever did that because they were like, ooh, I'm going to be smart and I'm not going to read first. I'm just going to get it all done and then I'll do it faster. And then after like the fourth or fifth question, they started getting really hard, and you were like, what, what is this? Until you finally just gave up and looked at the and looked, sort of skimmed it because you were like, maybe there's something going on in there. And I also know the people that after a while, because you had the same thing every single year for like however many years you were in elementary school, whether it be 5 years or 6 years or whatever. And I remember that by like fourth or fifth grade, I used to just sort of just look at the last step to make sure that it didn't say anything. And generally it did, but sometimes it didn't. And you actually had to do the thing, and it wasn't a trick. But what if somebody would just put it like in the middle? Like, let's say there's 50 steps. Um, only do the first four, and then only do the first four, and put your name on it and hand it in. What if that was like step 26 or step 34 or step 43, or like some inconspicuous number that nobody would think of? And so just the looking back at the last question thing wouldn't work. That would thwart a lot of kids' plans. Future teachers that are listening to me right now, you should do that if you do that at all, because you should. Thwart kids' plans. See who's actually following directions, just isn't in on the trick. Okay, so has this become less of the worst prank ever and more of just let me recount all the pranks of my childhood. There is another one that I remember that we did in fifth grade, I think, because the way our elementary school was set up, at least in the upper grades, is that there would sort of be sections, but not by department. It would be like the yellow area, the orange area, the blue area, the peach, whatever thing you could think of, and then so each class, they would all be in like groups of four, and then the groups of four would be divided into two groups, and then each pair of classrooms would have a door in between, just so that each classroom is connected to another classroom. And then what they would do is, for science and social studies, you'd switch classrooms to get used to the whole you need to switch for middle school and high school thing. So, I remember I don't even remember the teacher. I think her name was Mrs. McGregor. No, that wasn't it. It was something with a G. So anyway, so this, she was kind of old, not really old, but kind of old, and so and she was also sort of the most, like, childlike in a way. So what we did was after lunch, we all organized this the day before. The entire fifth grades of that color section, I don't even remember what color section it was, we all left lunch a couple minutes early, and we went into her room, and we all sort of hid in the corner of her room near where the closet was, and then we watched and then she came in. She came in, and she said, what are you doing? And it was like, it's the April Fool's prank, but I'll go to class in a minute. And then so she was like, okay. So she sort of hid us in a way, like, she had one of those walls that you could push aside, and she sort of put it up a little bit so that it would hide us a little bit. And then she watched and we heard as all the other three teachers just running around looking for all of their kids in vain for like 10 minutes until she was finally like, you need to go to your class now. And we were like, fine, but we don't want to learn math or French or Spanish or English or Deutsch or whatever it is. So... yeah, I'm trying to think of any other prank that's really memorable to me. I remember, no, that's not. I remember, that, hold on. Let me think. Oh yeah. So there was this one prank that we did with the sub, and I think it's also in the Linear series. If you know of that, I don't know if you know of that book or those books. I think it was in there as well, but we came up with it first. Um, anyway, because I remember, I only know that because I was telling this to people. I was telling this to somebody a while ago, and they were like, "Isn't that from a book or something?" And then I was like, "What? It's from a book?" And then they were like, "Yeah, I think it was in like this Winnie Ears book or something." So I looked at it, and it was there. We had a sub, and it was one of those subs that subs a lot, but nobody likes them at all. Like, they're really hated, they're really strict, or they're just for whatever reason. So what we did is we all sort of said the wrong name. Like, if we had a nickname, or if our names could have a nickname, we'd use the wrong nickname. Or if our names didn't have a nickname, we'd just make up something, or we'd say, "Oh no, it's actually this, you're pronouncing it wrong." And it was, yeah, it didn't take very long to figure it out, that it wasn't our names, because we stopped responding. But yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was lighthearted. I don't think, besides the whole thumb thing, I don't think I've ever seen or been involved with any prank that's really bad. Like, you hear these ones about like people like throwing people off rooftops, or people getting, like, I remember like that classic push XYZ into the pool prank. Like, what if they have their cell phone, or their laptop, or their Kindle, or something that is very important? Or what if they don't know how to swim? Or what if they have a cast that you just don't know about, or something, and you shove them in the pool, and then something gets broken or stolen, or they die? It's not a good prank at all. Don't do it unless I suppose if you ask if they have any electronic in their pockets, or if you know that they can swim for some reason, then you could do it. But I mean, the whole thing is, if you're like, "Oh, it's so gonna be so inconspicuous, they'll just push them in, and you won't even know anything. Ha 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 ha." Then, yeah, don't do it. Don't do it unless you know the person very well. That's my advice. So thank you for listening to this, or watching this, or doing whatever you're doing with this. So yeah, thank you, and I will hear from you tomorrow, or you'll hear me tomorrow, and I'll hope to hear from you down in comments, or video responses, or anything of the sort. And tomorrow's topic, I want to talk about Pride and Prejudice, the book, and Lizzie Bennent Diaries, and things like that. If you have anything you'd like to do with that, like if you have any comments that you'd like me to put in or something, then leave a comment or a video response, or do whatever, and I might put it in if I like it. I mean, if it's completely the opposite of something that I said, like if you say that Lizzie Bennett is a stuck-up jerk, and we should all love George because he's such a nice person, then no, I will not say that, except for maybe to laugh at it a little bit. So yes, that's tomorrow, and if you don't want spoilers, then you probably shouldn't watch it. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow.